Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spoiler Alert for X-Men Apocalypse. I am your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Apocalypse!
Michael Crawford, a.k.a. Riku's son one, the only one.
What it do, niggas?
And we got a guest tonight, my good friend, Mr. Anchorman.
Aw, man. You don't have to call me a guest. Let's just call it a desperate booty call.
Hey, listen, man, thank you for being on because nobody saw this fucking movie. Shit. It was hard to find.
I just saw this shit yesterday, nigga.
Yeah, man. Dude, this thing was so hard to get anybody. We were doing Multiverse yesterday, and it was like, I was asking everybody and anybody, like, have you seen this movie? Can we talk about it? Like, nah, man, I got stuff to do. It's like,
Whoa, what the fuck is this shit? Okay, I'm going to show you guys something. So, you know how, like, the links get sent out on Twitter and stuff when you go live? Why is this shit in Arabic? Like, is it because we're doing Age of Apocalypse? Is that why?
Over, man.
no, it's not Arabic for me.
Look at this. Yeah, look at the link I just put in there. Like, what is that? It's like some weird
The hell
Arabic
is that?
book. Dude, I guess it's because it's Apocalypse, man. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Arabic to me. It could be, who knows. Anyway, so let's get into it. X-Men Apocalypse. I'm thinking about this weirdo, like, what is that? Anyway, so as usual, on Spoiler, we give you our quick little impressions, and then we get into the deep ones. So, Anchorman, quick impressions. What do you think of the movie?
I thought overall, I mean, this is definitely the weakest of this new trilogy base. It's definitely not. It's not better than First Class, and I don't think it's better than Days of Future Past as a film. In terms, like, and I'm just judging it based on the film, not even the adaptation aspect of it. It works, but it's not that good. It's not that complex. Not as complex as I would have liked it to have been. I think, like, overall, I like some of the character moments, like you see with Jean and Scott, Nightcrawler in particular. They do a pretty good job, and especially with the adaptation aspect of it. But it's just the scenes of the Apocalypse. You have to also understand the X-Men movies are more showcase movies. It's more about, okay, how many X-Men can we show, and how many little fan service drops can we give to everybody, and that's pretty much the movie. But I mean, it works, but it doesn't take any real risk with it, though. No real reward came with it either. It also kind of harkens back to a pre-cinematic universe kind of movie, at least to me.
Yeah, we'll get into that aspect because I do want to talk about that. Riku, quick thoughts.
I liked it. I didn't like it more than Days of Future Past, but I did like it more than First Class.
Interesting.
I really did. Honestly, I really thought that they were going to fuck this up because I haven't read or watched a lot of the the Apocalypse stories, but the ones that I have read or watched, they never really ended well. They always ended with everyone got fucked, and we either had to reboot the series or fucking the show got canceled, or it was just it never. All of the ones that I've read or watched, the Apocalypse arc always seemed to be the one that everyone's fucked at the end. But for this, I felt, even though I felt Apocalypse, the way they took him out was, I guess, let's all combine forces together and take him out. Even though I thought that was just a slight bit cheesy, I thought if they were going to take this guy out in any way, shape, or form, this is probably the best way they could have done it. And
right.
As far as that Fantastic Four ending.
Yeah, oh man, but we'll get deeper into it. Obviously, just quick thoughts on it. Manny, quick thoughts.
Yeah, I have to say the same thing. I like the film, but I do feel like it definitely feels like we're retreading some ground with the original X-Men. Like, it definitely feels like the first X-Men film by Bryan Singer. I liked it. It definitely is the worst. Not the worst, but it is the kind of a little bit lower, the lower point of the new X-Men trilogy of films.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much my thought too. I enjoyed the movie for the most part, but it's definitely the weakest of the new trilogy, and we'll get into that. But anyway, so this movie is. Oh, by the way, that language is apparently Thai. Somebody just told me that on Twitter.
So why are we getting Thai?
I have no fucking idea. Anyway, so yeah, this movie's called Apocalypse, right? He was the main bad guy here. I was worried as soon as, like, okay, when they showed him at the end of the last movie, I thought it was cool. Like, oh shit, we're gonna get in Sabanur Apocalypse, cool. Then they showed the first screenshot of him looking like Ivan Ooze. I'm like, oh, they're gonna fuck this up. Why is he so short? Why is he purple? Why does he look like he's 50 million years old? Like, I know he's old, but he's not supposed to look old. You know, I was like, oh,
you want to hear the kicker? So the guy who actually designed the makeup, right? He actually made a version of him that looks exactly like the way
I remember you
Apocalypse,
posting that. Yeah, that looked
the
really
way
good.
Apocalypse should look, but the movie studio did not want that. So
Yeah, they wanted Ivan Ooze instead.
they wanted
So,
that weird helmet thing that they made.
yeah, so you know, and the thing is, man, you already know, is Apocalypse is one of my favorite all-time
Mhm.
X-Men villains, right? He's like that. That's the dude, like basically, he's like the X-Men's version of Galactus. Like when this guy shows up, shit is about to go down. You know, so you
Mhm.
know, and then my love of Age of Apocalypse, I'm like, oh man, please don't fuck this up,
No,
please don't throw it up, you know, and I thought he was pretty good. Like he was a little bit different, in the comics in the sense of that he wasn't so much a megalomaniac as he was like a cult leader that just wanted to take over the world. But he definitely had a more of a cult leader feel.
he still had the same goal, like
Oh, yeah, it's the
essentially.
same goal, but I mean, it's his way of going about it seemed a little bit different. You know, like like in the comics, it didn't seem as like, I guess, empathetic as he was. Like he was trying to say, "Hey, I'm here for you. You're gonna help me by me helping you." The other one's like, "No, I'm stronger than you. You're gonna help me." You know. So I thought that was an interesting take.
Join or die.
Yeah, join or die. You know. So I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty interesting. Go ahead, Anchorman. I don't know, you want to say some shit about Apocalypse?
That's a good point though, because it's I think they changed it to get rid of the whole Galactus vibe because they also do own the rights to the Fantastic Four, which it kind of having like Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is not in this movie, at least
Not,
proper.
not until the end. We'll talk
Proper.
about that. Yeah.
But in more along the lines of like he's not peddling out the the apocalypse dogma out just yet, and I think they decide we're not going to do that, and we're going to have him be more of a charismatic character to
Yeah,
bring
that's
in
the word.
outside forces because
Yeah.
it will be
Mhm.
different than the Galactus aspect of it. Because otherwise, if you have a herald kind of doing that, it's like it seems a little bit familiar.
He
We may
never
not do
had
it.
he never had a herald
Well,
though.
he has like horsemen. I guess those are his version of heroes. But what I mean by Galactus is like basically like for the Fantastic Four, their ultimate villain is Galactus, right? The X-Men's ultimate villain is Apocalypse. That's what I meant in that regard. You know, Riku, you were saying something about Apocalypse before. I guess you can just go all in now. What do you think of this version compared to all the ones you've
Well,
seen
I
before?
was I was trying to get one of my friends to come with me to the movies yesterday to watch it, but he couldn't make it. But he ended up watching it today, and we talked about it. And he mentioned that he didn't like the fact that uh, Apocalypse these people he didn't feel that the people that were following Apocalypse their reason was like legit enough. And I told him the kind of the same thing Anchorman just said about charisma. I was like, they're following him because he had this really strong charisma and overwhelming power that you when you see this dude, especially with the characters that ended up following him, you want to go with him. You understand, with the exception of Psylocke, you understand why each of those characters were following him. And I like that. I like a villain that has charisma that gets people behind him because of his overwhelming charisma. So I
Yeah,
did like that
I
aspect
agree with
of
that.
I don't know. I didn't feel like he had very much charisma to me. He just kind
I
of.
did.
It seemed like he just kind of whispered in people's ear. Like it seemed like he was just controlling people. To me, it didn't seem like he was doing anything different.
He was. I mean, if he was controlling, I mean, he was controlling. If you're controlling someone, I mean, he wanted to take over Professor X to legit mind control everyone without them, without their will. But these guys, they made their choice. I mean, obviously, the one they could either, like Tony said, join or die.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, these guys, by the time they wanted to join Apocalypse, it felt like it wasn't I have to join this because I want to join this dude, all of
Mhm.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's a good point to bring up, though.
I didn't feel that at all because there was pretty much absolutely no character development on any of those characters with the exception
Really,
of Magneto.
I mean,
With the exception of Magneto, I mean, what Storm just shows up once and it's like, all right, cool. And,
I think he
my biggest
tried.
that is actually my biggest issue with the Horsemen, is because there's no reason for any of them to be there, with the exception of Magneto, who has this pain.
I mean, they kind of
I
gave one with
I think Angel had a
Angel.
good motivation.
Yeah,
With Angel again,
in particular, where it was he was
it's
being
better than
put
nothing.
in
You're saying there's nothing.
no, there's not really anything. It's to be honest, it's just
If
like,
it's 1 out of 100, if it's 1, it's something. You can't.
and then
No,
let me also bring up the fact, take me to your strongest mutants, and then the first guy they bring you to is to the guy with wings.
Well, I mean,
Well,
he has.
he's
the strongest guy you can think of.
Who did he ask when he said that?
He has
Psylocke.
He has fucking Psylocke.
Is
Is that the strongest guy that she knows?
But would you ask
guess.
Olivia Munn for any good information?
Exactly.
No.
They're showing me you're strongest.
Hey,
You
listen.
talk about a
She
PSP
looked like she
and
could. Listen, she's got a sword in her hand. She looks like she can do some shit. I don't know. She could have fucking. The first person she should have brought him to was the fucking Magneto. That would have been good. It's like you have Storm. You have Storm, who's incredibly powerful. You have Magneto, and then this guy with wings. Which the only reason why he is even there is because he was one of the original Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
You ever consider that he was just closer than Magneto?
In particular.
He was closer to Magneto.
Yeah. You ever consider that?
Anyway, my point is, I'm not defending the
if you could
Horsemen
teleport
of the
to any
Apocalypse.
place on the planet, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
I'm not
anyway,
defending the Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
go ahead.
I'm defending Apocalypse and the charisma that I felt he had.
I felt like he had really no presence. I feel like he was just kind of like, "You will come along with me," and then of course, there's those wonderful shots of him standing next to all of his horsemen, and they're all towering over him.
Yeah. Anyway, Anchorman, get in here.
All right. So what I was trying to tell you though is I think with Storm in particular, it was more like, okay, you're the first person. You kind of believe me. All right. You're kind of lumped in. And when they asked Psylocke, okay, who are your strongest mutants, you have to keep in mind that Angel has a record. He's killed like 10 mutants, I think, at this point. He was like keeping track of how many mutants he killed in those cockfights. And so, like, for him, his spirit's broken.
Yeah,
he's like, okay, I'm being
that.
used as like a fighting dog, like just going into dog fights, and it's just he's seeing the worst that humanity has to offer, and he's broken because Nightcrawler really screwed up his wings, and so he's broken at that point. And I know in the Apocalypse line where it becomes Archangel, like it's because his wings are broken in particular, and so that's one of the big driving forces behind it for the new wings. And so you have him at his lowest point in using him and saying that we're going to create a new world. So I think Angel had the most, I guess, backstory for or really kind of motivation towards it. Magneto was like, all right, yeah, Magneto, but like I think Psylocke, like there's really no reason for Psylocke to even get involved.
Yeah, like to me, Magneto had sufficient motivation to join Apocalypse. Angel did. Olivia Munn was just like, man, fuck it, I have nothing better to do today.
She was just there for power hungry. He powered up her saber, and she's like, "Ooh, I want to get this guy."
That's all.
Talk about the fact
my saber looking
that
pretty.
Wait, what happened, Anchorman? What happened?
She doesn't even have telepathy. She doesn't, like, they only show the energy sword thing. They don't talk about any of the rest of her powers.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. They didn't talk about the fact that
at that point, you wouldn't have needed Xavier, so that mysterious little bit of power has been obviously removed.
Oh shit! I didn't think about that. Yeah, it's like, why not just amplify her instead of Xavier? Why not? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, use her instead of Xavier. But I'm guessing Xavier's more powerful than Psylocke anyway. But she's supposed to be pretty close to him.
Yeah.
But then again, this is a movie. They changed a bunch of stuff. Like Caliban's supposed to be an idiot. What's he doing? Like being like a broker or something.
I would have rather have Caliban be in the Horsemen, because he was at one point, but he was a badass though. That would be way better than the Psylocke.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, let's just be honest. I think our problem wasn't really Psylocke, the character. It was the person playing Psylocke.
I didn't have a problem with.
It could have been anybody.
I didn't have a problem with Olivia Munn because, I mean, officially she really didn't do anything. She just growled at the camera.
Yeah,
and
but to
said
me,
maybe one or
it
two
took me
lines.
out of it. Every time she showed up, it still took me out of the scene. I'm like, oh, there's Olivia Munn again, you know?
I didn't officially. I knew what she was, and that's exactly what she is. She's just like friggin' set dressing, to be honest. She's like,
She's a
oh
cover girl.
you remember Psylocke? She looks almost exactly like Psylocke. Well, she doesn't need to say anything. She just needs to stand there.
I just
And do
get
a
the
cool
feeling
backflip
that
cutting through a
something behind
car.
the scenes. There was something behind the scenes, like Olivia Munn's like, you know you want Psylocke in this movie. You know you do. I'll do it.
Yeah, I just feel like in general I feel like the horsemen
Could you imagine?
the horsemen are all just kind of really weak developed, and that's exactly the issue. At least they have somewhat of a reason why they're doing what they're doing, unlike Magneto in the first X-Men movie where there's literally no development on those guys at all. I mean, you get a little bit, but I mean, I feel like that's one of the things. That's one of the things I consider the similarity between the original film is that there's just all these characters that are just kind of there that you remember as you know, if you're a comic book fan, you remember these characters. But other than that, they're not really there to do anything
The only characters
special.
I felt that was Jubilee and what's the other?
I mean, there's not
No,
really
but
that.
Jubilee
I mean,
was in the right place, just there for like, oh yeah, I remember Jubilee. Done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
and
It's
they supposedly cut a scene out with her in it.
Yeah, I heard about that.
wow.
So she was supposed to get some time, but you know, she didn't get any.
Yeah,
I
what
think-
were you gonna say before? You were gonna say when you said, "Wouldn't it be funny if what?"
Oh, I was saying I really wanted to see because I know he's probably in the theater watching it and he's all grumpy and mad. David Jaffe.
Wait, why?
No, not David Jaffe. What's his name? Cliff.
Oh, Cliff Blazinski.
Cliff, yeah, Cliffy B.
Oh yeah, wait,
Fucking
no, no,
theater. He sees Olivia Munn slice through the fucking the car, and he's like, "Whore!" right there in the theater. Oh my god, that's all I needed to record it. That was
Oh man, that's funny.
yeah.
What did you guys think about the new Jean Grey and Scott?
I liked them.
Sansa?
They were fine.
Yeah, Sansa.
I couldn't see no Jean Grey in her.
The only
Like Tony said, he always saw Olivia Munn. I always saw Sansa. I can do it.
I thought she was fine.
I thought she was no. There's so many other gingers you could have used.
I mean, I thought she was fine. I don't really watch much Game of Thrones, so I was able to suspend my disbelief that she was this character. The only thing is that she doesn't really look anything like Famke Janssen. That's my only problem with the whole thing.
Yeah, she had that big forehead and
She
shit.
has a lot of forehead. Unless she used her mutant powers to kind of pull her.
They could at least dyed her hair more red. Oh, whatever. I don't. They could have. In my opinion, they could have found a really good ginger that someone doesn't know. There's a lot of good actors out there.
So to you, because she was too much like Sansa, you can separate the two, right?
I really couldn't. It took me out.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, to me, what did it for me was because again in Game of Thrones she doesn't really do anything, and then in this one she doesn't even have an accent. I'm like, okay, she's different enough, and she was Jean Greyish enough to me. You know that was like, okay, I bought her, so I thought she was a good Jean Grey. I actually really liked Cyclops more than I thought.
Oh yeah,
they kind of changed his personality a little bit. He's not as like straight laced as he's supposed to be. He's like, hey, like fuck this shit. Let's leave the school right now. Let's go see a movie or something.
That was weird. That was odd. That was a different type of Cyclops we saw there.
But you also
because they switched the Havoc age with him. Because Havoc was supposed to be the younger brother, but now Havoc's
I realized that. I was like, wait, isn't...
That's right. Because remember, Havoc was in first class as an old. He was older, like 20.
He was like 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years exactly. So yeah, he was definitely older and stuff. So that was interesting. We'll talk about Havoc in a bit because I didn't like the way he took him out. But yeah, Cyclops. I like Nightcrawler. They didn't change.
Nightcrawler, and another character we're going to talk about. I feel those two characters did like the most in this movie.
The others are essentially the original Spider-Man.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, the kid who's playing Nightcrawler is the kid who played Ender in Ender's Game, and he was supposed to play Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah, that's him.
Arthur Butterfield?
Yeah,
wow. That's him. Are you sure? I gotta look that up.
That's
anyway, Rigo, who's the other character that you thought stood out besides Nightcrawler?
Same motherfucker that stood out in Days of Future Past, Quicksilver.
Oh, Quicksilver. Oh yeah, we could talk about that scene if you want, man.
Yes. Yeah, the
Yeah.
hypersonic speed scene, I love it. I'm glad. That's probably why I'll definitely agree from a critical standpoint. First Class and Days of Future Past are better. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from an enjoyment standpoint, man, the fact that they gave Quicksilver another hypersonic speed scene just because that was one of the main reasons I liked Days of Future Past a lot. That scene. Then they gave him another one in this one, and it was probably just as good, if not better.
Yeah. Before we get to that scene, Manny, the guy's name is.
It was not Nightcrawler.
Yeah,
It wasn't Nightcrawler?
No. Yeah, he looks nothing like him.
Wasn't
No,
that kid Ender?
No,
that was Asa Butterfield.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is Cody Smith McPhee. I don't even know who the hell that is.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, okay, yeah. Let's
He
talk
was a
about
good
that.
Nightcrawler, though. He was a good Nightcrawler.
Yeah, he
he
was
was
really fun. But yeah, let's talk about that Quicksilver scene because I know Riku, you were telling me when we saw the other movie afterwards. You're like, yo, how can they top that scene? So did this scene top that scene to you?
I do think so. Why? Because it was just as good as far as him doing his little funny, immature things while he's saving people, but it was longer. It was probably like 2 times longer than the hypersonic speed scene in Days of Future Past, where he stops all the bullets and does all of his things. And this one, it was like 2 times longer. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. The freaking dog and the pizza in its mouth and all that shit. It was great. I liked it.
Yeah, that was really good. It really shows you what he's capable of. Anyway, Anchorman, go ahead. What did you think about that scene?
I thought the second one when he's beating the shit out of Apocalypse was great.
Oh yes,
that was good. I didn't like the first one because I felt like it was like oh, it's an obligation. We got to do this now, and they kept spoiling it in the trailers. They were like, oh,
I didn't watch
look,
any of the trailers.
Slow mo, look at it.
See, that's why I don't watch none of the freaking trailers now these days. I stay away from all of that shit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it was like, okay, the first time it happened, no one was expecting it, and it was just great. But now it's like, all right, yeah, this is the same old, I guess.
That's you, buddy. I was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Man, get in here because you have a different take. Why didn't you like?
I think the scene is very entertaining, but I also think that at the same time it ruins the tone of what just happened. Because what happened just before that? Havoc died. Yeah. And you literally have a joke that has a 10-minute joke that happens after that. So you totally ruined all the tone that happened, all the impact of what just happened. They blew up the X Mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did something similar to that too. The Stan Lee cameo. They had the whole Stan Lee cameo like right in the middle of like they're launching nukes. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh my god, this is supposed to be a big moment. And he's like, oh, Stan Lee. Okay.
As cool as the Quicksilver sequence is, the film probably could have done without it and essentially kept with the same tone. In other words, you have this catastrophe that happens, and then you could still have Quicksilver save all those people, but you could essentially have the cause and effect. In other words, the place blows up, but everybody somehow manages to get out. Everybody's like all flying into those different hammocks and all those different things at the end, right? You have all that sequence, and then you have the next part where Cyclops, it's like he's like wondering what the hell happened, and he's like, "Where's my brother?" Like, in other words, essentially keeping that same tone, but you have this big joke that happens in between there, and you lose any. Then at the same time, you kind of forget about what happened to Havoc. It just becomes like, oh yeah, we just got rid of him.
Yeah.
Deleted.
I don't know, man. It sounds like you're nitpicking. I enjoyed it.
No, it has nothing to do with nitpicking. It has to do. There's a time and a place, and it has to do with tone. Essentially, we're going from a big moment where essentially Charles Xavier's been kidnapped, and the whole X Mansion was blown up, and then a big joke, and then Charles Xavier, Havoc dies, the mansion explodes, and then a big joke. Okay. And then after that, we're coming back to seriousness again.
Let's talk about that 20-minute complete waste of time of going to Alkali Lake. Yeah. It literally served no purpose.
The only reason why that sequence is even in the film is just so that you could have a Wolverine cameo.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Stryker doesn't. also, nobody ever begs to ask this question: how did Stryker end up with Wolverine? If you remember, in Days of Future Past, it was Mystique dressed up as fucking Stryker.
Yeah, that's right. Like completely negated how the other movie ended.
That was
By doing that. But the thing is, I think it was either with Anchorman or Manny. I was talking to about this because I was like, "Hey, the Wolverine scene needed to happen because how were they going to escape the lake?" And they were like, "They didn't need to go to the lake to begin with." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right. They didn't need to go there." It's like
because literally it doesn't have anything.
Yeah, it's like the boat scene in Uncharted 3. Take that whole section out. You don't need it. It doesn't affect the story at all. Same thing.
I had this argument on my Facebook page, DC versus Marvel Comics, and I was having this argument. I was like, this whole scene, you could cut out this entire scene and nothing would change. Like you could just go to the bathroom and the entire time, all you miss is Wolverine, and then who does nothing. Wolverine, like, what does this scene contribute to stopping Apocalypse? Wolverine doesn't come to help. Stryker doesn't do anything to help. Literally, the only thing you could say that would happen is, they got that plane and they got the suits. And it's like, well, we already had a plane and we had the suits at the X Mansion, which we just decided to blow up.
Well, I mean, the thing is that's always a big moment, blowing up the X Mansion. I think you definitely should keep that. But how do we get there? But the thing is that I'm sure they could have thought of some other fucking way to get there,
Yeah, and actually, that would be one thing. Like, okay, let's hijack a plane. We'll do a Quicksilver scene on that. Quicksilver, taking out the entire plane. That would have been just as cool.
Yep.
I don't know if that would have been just as cool. But I mean, you're just definitely married to the sequence, but you really don't need it. It doesn't help the film. It just kind of lightens things up at a point when things need to be light. They needed to be heavy. I don't know. I didn't feel like, the whole. I understand the inconsistency in tone, but when it was time to feel sad, I felt sad. It was time to laugh, I laughed. It wasn't like, I'm feeling sad right now, but they're trying to make me laugh. I don't like this. I wasn't feeling like that, so that's just me, I guess.
And especially if it's a character like Havoc, who was kind of a big deal in the X-Men First Class film.
Who was missing in the last movie.
It was missing in the last film, which I thought he was dead because they showed all of their stuff and they're like made it like he was gone. Like he had gotten killed or something. But no, he just showed up.
Was stupid anyway, so.
You said what?
I said the way they killed him off in this movie, I thought it was a stupid way to kill him off anyway.
Yeah, they just kind of blew him up, but it's just like, oh, really? Could he have gone out?
I guess that's why I didn't really care for his whole death, and I didn't really feel anything.
Yeah, and they didn't set it up in Future Past. He wasn't even in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't at all. It's like when he showed up, it was like, oh, okay, I guess you're still around.
It's cool, he's back.
Yeah. And you haven't aged much. It's been 20 years since Days of Future Past. Nobody's aged. It's hilarious.
I think it's actually been 15 since First Class. I don't know, but we've gone 2 decades now.
Oh no, it's longer than that. Because think about it. This movie takes place in 1983. Days of First Class was like 1961. There's a Cuban Missile Crisis. So it was. It's been a long time. It's been longer than 20 years. Yeah, it's been longer than 20 years actually.
No, I think because I think they just didn't care because they knew if they had to, either try to make them look older or find different actors, then that's too much work on their part. They didn't feel like doing none of that.
Yeah,
make them all look the same.
I want to bring up a little nitpicky thing. Manny brought me up on. I didn't think about that because I did notice Apocalypse. He affects. He fucks with Storm. Her hair changes, right? He fucks with Xavier, he loses his hair. Why is it that when he fucked with Magneto didn't get his white hair too? He should have it by now,
He never. The thing is that did he always in the comics? He always had white hair.
Yeah, even when he was a kid, he's supposed to have white hair, But they try to make it more realistic or whatever. I just had to bring that up. But anyway, I want to talk about the other thing that kind of bothered me about this movie: Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
We all know the reason this woman's getting so much shine. Mystique should not be getting screen time like that. It's because of the fucking actress, right? And then the other thing is the last movie, even the movie before that was all about, okay, I'm accepting myself. I'm a mutant. I'm not going to be, wearing this human skin anymore. Yeah, exactly. And now what is she doing through 75% of this movie? She's in fucking human skin. It's like you're contradicting what you just said in the previous 2 movies.
To be honest, it actually would have made more sense if Mystique joined with Apocalypse.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know,
She
but
has more. She has more reasoning, to do it. As far as like the fact that she, her inhumanity and stuff like that.
again, you can't have Jennifer Lawrence be the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And then my thing is just like, okay, because she's like, oh, I don't want to be putting on this makeup. She said this. It's like, okay, so get another actress. You know?
Yeah, the thing about it is that you could easily, just say, oh, okay, Mystique looks different now because she's older,
Yeah, exactly.
Or not
She
even that.
changed.
Just
She
say she
changed
changed to
herself.
look what she looks like.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest cast changing option ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, she looks like that now. You know, like I mean, as far as like her in the movie, I didn't think it was bad. It's just like no, you should be blue the entire time at least. You know.
To be honest, she was a little useless.
Oh yeah, kind of. You know, she was just there
It
to
is a plot
teach.
device.
Yeah,
She was a
wa-
plot device in Days of Future Past, and I
That's
was like,
true.
all right.
but she made more sense in that one.
Well, not even really. Like, okay, when was Mystique ever able to absorb other people's powers?
yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Oh,
But then
you know
again,
what?
we're talking Days of Future Past. They're making up all kinds of goofball powers. All of a sudden, Shadowcat has the ability to friggin' send your brain back in time.
Yeah, that
Mm,
made no fucking sense. You know what? Based on that, I shouldn't have been surprised by the way they fucked up Cyclops' power in this movie. He shoots concussive beams. They're not heat beams. He doesn't emit any kind of heat out of these things. Like when I saw that tree go on fire, I'm like, what the
yeah,
fuck
you
is
split it in
he?
half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's split in half. He can split it in half, right? He could do that. There's no fire, you know. Because at first
Right.
I saw smoke
I
coming
don't
out
know,
of the. What
you
happened?
could maybe argue because it's concussive. You could say the kinetic friction between the sheer power and the tree might cause a fire.
They
Maybe.
would have maybe, but the thing is, they would have at least said that in the comics, you know. But the thing is, even in the movies, if you take some movies, he never had heat beams before. Even in
Yeah.
the movies, he never had heat beams before. So it's like Bryan Singer, you directed like 4 of these already, and you just forgot, you know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
he
So
hasn't had
It's a
had
different universe,
Cyclops in a
though,
bit.
man.
yeah. But yeah, let's get to like I guess the final conflict and stuff. Because the thing about this movie was this is the first X-Men movie that was actually like on a global scale. You know, like the villain was actually threatening the entire planet. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
localized thing.
At one time.
Yeah, you know. But you know, I thought that was cool. But again, it wasn't handled exactly right to me. You know, again, it's just like when I left the theater, I was like, there's something missing here. You know, like, okay, you literally just disarmed the entire world. Like, that's pretty heavy. You're about to have Magneto rip the fucking planet apart. That's pretty heavy too, but it didn't have that weight to it that it should have.
It
You know?
almost didn't have that. What happens in like those films, like where there's a dire situation. There's always that, literal or implied ticking clock situation. And
Yeah.
it didn't feel like anything was getting more intense. Usually, when you're
Really?
when that sort of stuff sort of happens, like when you have like the world is about to be destroyed, and and the guys are going to come in and save the day. It's usually they kind of have that sort of like it feels like there's something at stake. But I also feel like the biggest issue with a lot of it has to do with they never actually show what happens to people. They show what happens to cities. You see cities coming apart and blowing up, and you hear like some sound effects of people, implied people, stuff like that. But
I
you
know
don't.
exactly what you're talking about. That was actually my problem with fucking the ending of Watchmen. I was
Yeah,
like, dude, like the reason the ending of the comic book was so powerful is because you saw millions of dead people. In the movie, it was just like there was a giant hole in Manhattan. You know, like they told you millions of people were killed, but you didn't see it. Same thing with this movie. I mean, if you know, I mean, like think about what the damage Magneto did. Millions of people were killed. You know, but you didn't really get that sense. You know.
I mean, you don't really get that sense in the previous stuff leading up to the Avengers Civil War. They just mentioned in Avengers Civil War that
But they
that's
do show
an
it
issue.
though. Like even what are you talking about? In the Age of Ultron, they showed the people in actual danger.
No, I
You
mean
know?
I know they showed the people in danger. They never really go in depth on you Avengers are civilians are hurt. They didn't really mention any of that until Civil War.
Yeah, no.
No, they actually. Well, not the first Avengers
They didn't mention
film.
it, but they did show it though. Like in the first Avengers movie, they're saving people. You know, Age of Ultron. Every movie, you know, even Age of Ultron twice with the Hulk, it's like you saw people getting like, you know, hurt and they weren't killed. Obviously, you know, they weren't showing you that. But
Yeah,
by the time you got to Civil War, you understood what was at stake. In this one, not so much. You know.
And also
We'll
the
see
thing
with
is,
the
the
next
thing about
X-Men movie
Civil
if they
War is
mention
it's.
it.
Oh, go ahead.
Wait, what happened, Rico?
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying we'll have to see as far as the next X-Men movie if they follow up on the after effect of what happened in
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just saying if when it would I only had a little bit of gripes when it came to Civil War, and that was one of them where it didn't seem that it was a big issue until what's her face, Wanda hit that side of the building, and then it seemed like everyone cared about.
I think that's
that
on
type of thing.
purpose, though. I think that was because we watch these movies through the lens of the superheroes, and they don't really. I don't think they before then they didn't really think about, okay, here are the side casualties of my actions. I'm just kind of going out here, you know, saving the general good, fighting the bad guy. Like I'm like casually looking out for people, but I'm not making a very big point of minimalizing casualties. I think it was the Civil War was more of a wake up call, that it was
Yeah.
all right,
And you don't think that's an issue?
you got to see what you're doing here. Like whenever Hulk jumps onto the side of a building, there's stuff that falls down from there and it hits people.
I think you're right. You got to think about it was from the hero's perspective. But again, what X-Men did is it. I guess I'm not. It's not a huge complaint for me, but I think a couple of little scenes with civilians would have probably helped out a little bit. Because again, I was wondering like, why is it this as impactful as it could have been?
You never
know?
feel any sort of like the one issue with at least with a lot of some of the X-Men films is that you never really feel that connection between humanity. They talk about the connection between humanity, but they're only dealing with certain facets of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that there was no real connection to regular people. It's almost like that regular people don't exactly live in the X-Men universe. And I feel like that if there was some sort of consequences, or we saw people something, you know, or even other mutants dying within those horrible chaos things, like, you know.
I mean, I kind of felt that in Days of Future Past when they were having that fight right in front of the.
Yeah, you definitely feel it there because you actually see the consequences of what their actions. Magneto literally lifted up a friggin' stadium and plopped it around the White House. There's a bunch of people there in the crossfire, so I feel like that's that. Like it feels like with a lot of the chaos that was happening, we're very separated from it, and it just doesn't feel it. Even though you see buildings getting destroyed, you really don't feel the consequences of what's happening.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to bring up too, because you only really see the X-Men by themselves. They're not really involved with anybody else, you know, unless they're fighting them, like with Stryker or something like that. Like they really don't. The X-Men themselves don't really get involved with anybody else. They're just kind of like, yeah, we're out doing our own thing. Yeah, we're gonna go to Stryker. Yeah, we're gonna go fight Apocalypse. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you could even kind of say it about the comics too. You know.
Yeah,
X-Men
the comics tends to do it, but there also does seem to be, you know, there was always some sort of effect. Like either you know, like they always pull off shots where it's like you see like on the other side of the earth, you know, if somebody's getting destroyed, you see some characters that you know interacting with the situation too. You know what I mean? Like having in other words, it may not be showing all of humanity or something, but it still has that connection. It's like, oh, you know, Apocalypse is throwing this thing over there, and blah 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 is there. Somebody we care about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I'm glad we brought that up. That's true. But I mean, aside from that, though, I thought the fight was pretty well staged and stuff, especially the final part where Apocalypse finally gets in there and stuff. Because you know, I felt he was a pretty credible villain. Because I was like, how are they gonna take this guy out? Like he's literally all he has to do is just look at you and he could take you out like nothing, you know. So I thought when they combined everything was cool. Although I will say the whole Phoenix thing was a little kind of out of left field. You know, like they did predate it a little bit in the early parts of the film, but then when they finally came through, it's like, okay, what the hell is the Phoenix Force here? Is it the actual Phoenix Force, or is it just like a super powerful version of her psionic powers? Like they didn't explain that, you know?
I don't think they really needed to, because you have to look at it from the casual perspective.
Yeah,
People who saw X-Men Last Stand have no idea what the hell that was. Like for me, like even as a comic guy, I still don't understand what the hell was going on. Like even looking back on that, it's like, all right, is she Scarlet Witch? Is she Phoenix? I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah.
They just
Okay,
gotta
so
move on.
yeah. That's
But
why I was
in
asking. I'm like,
particular
am I
with
just
this
being
one,
too
though,
nerdy? Yeah, I was just like, am I being too nerdy with it? You know, because like, or am I overthinking it? I don't know. Anyway, go
yeah.
ahead. In this one, what were you
But in
saying?
particular with this one, though, it's just like, okay, Jean's had these nightmares. She has extra power that we do know of. They kind of set it up a little bit in the movie, and they said, like, okay, she finally let it go. She goes nuts, and for the comic fans, like, oh yeah, Phoenix, woo, yeah, it's great. But for everyone else, it's like, all right, this is her superpower form, all right. And then eventually, I think in the next one, they're gonna do Phoenix Force. They're gonna do the Phoenix Saga, something like that.
Yeah, for the next one, you know, and then
So
obviously, yeah, go ahead.
if you notice also Apocalypse, because you remember Apocalypse always, he essentially could not really see the future, but he saw what was coming, and that's why he wanted to have the strongest people involved, and that's why he kind of does that weird thing at the end. It's like oh, like that's what's gonna destroy everybody, you know.
Oh, the Phoenix.
Yeah, but I was okay with the Phoenix in there, but I do feel like it is a little bit of a ex machina type of
Oh
MacGuffin
yeah,
thing.
totally. Yeah,
It's like
totally.
we can't beat him at all, so we're just bam, we have our secret power.
Yeah, it just
I
reminded me of the scene from Civil War. It's like, hey, if anybody has any fantastical powers, now would be the time to unleash them.
I
You know?
also found what was it? I totally forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, it'll come back to me.
Yeah, actually, yeah, because we covered most of the main movie. I want to talk about that.
Actually, no. You know what? We didn't talk about it, which is my favorite sequence of the film. Is actually the psychic battle that he had with Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, where he actually grows big and stuff.
Where he grows big and he's having a battle inside of the mind. The only problem with that is that, come on, Xavier could have beat that shit. He could have fucked up Apocalypse in his head.
Could he have? Apocalypse is pretty fucking strong. Dude.
I don't know. I feel like he
could have put up a better fight. I would say that much. It was just like, oh man, this is my house. Build a mental house. Punch you. Yeah. That's it.
What I did find interesting is essentially Apocalypse was fighting two battles at the same time. He's fighting the physical battle, and then he's fighting the mental battle.
Yeah.
You know. But again, it's like, yo, this dude is crazy. He's fighting Xavier head on in his mind. He's fighting these guys physically, and he's like able to shrug it all off. You know, like I like that shit.
Doing the most.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. But the only
I like that they actually got into that. Like again, definitely, this film, like I said, it's a throwback to the X-Men film, but I feel like it would have been the X-Men film we would have wanted to see years ago.
Yeah.
I feel like if this was the first X-Men film that we got, it would have been awesome. Like, it would have been like, holy shit, what? Yeah. Like, they're literally, they're literally all using their powers. They're literally using all their powers. You get to see all this stuff. I definitely think that was the one thing that was missing from the original X-Men film, because, again, that was kind of a low-budget film. It couldn't do everything.
Yeah, you're right. This one, they went crazy.
They have Beast running around, and you always wanted to see fucking Beast in a friggin' movie. They had, like, Cyclops and Jean Grey doing Phoenix, all that stuff. So it's like, and they're actually having a big superhero battle as opposed to kind of, hanging out on the Statue of Liberty to, waiting for Magneto to, turning everyone into mutants.
I mean, they had Toad. But yeah, you're right about that. It was a really, really cool battle. I did like it. Just felt like the stakes weren't as high as they could have been.
Yeah, I feel like the stakes in the Magneto in the first film were actually higher, even though he was just turning people into mutants. because it
Or
just
really-
felt.
or puddles.
I don't know about that. I mean,
I think the
stakes that
reason
they had in this one was if
Go
you
ahead.
took over Professor X's body, do you really think there was a stake higher than that?
no, I don't.
He's talking about he didn't feel it. He says
You
he
don't.
didn't
In
feel
other
it.
words, there is.
I felt it.
You don't
If you
feel.
understand, the first movie was an ideological battle.
Yes.
There's nothing particularly wrong with making people mutants, but you know it's against their will, and it goes against what Xavier's principles are and the principles of the
But
X-Men.
I mean,
one of
same
the
thing with
one of the things that you get to
Christopher
see in the
Pratt,
original film is the consequences of what Magneto is going to be doing. You also get to see that its effect on people within, people who are without, in the city of New York. You get to see what's happening with them too.
That has to do with the stakes.
There's still that connection.
Although
I mean,
I
it's
still
like-
think the whole turning into a
In other words, everybody felt like they were in danger in the original film, but where in this film, it's like you didn't feel there was very much danger. There was horrible. There was a lot of dangerous stuff happening, but it really didn't seem like anybody was going to be. It is having very much trouble doing what they're doing.
Oh man, Damage Control Inc. Oh my God, they were rubbing their hands like, yes,
That's right.
we love Magneto.
I don't know. I felt the stakes were higher just because if Apocalypse did take over Professor X's body, that's game over. He has the
Yeah,
ability
that is
to-
a wrap. Yeah.
It's almost a little like a retread of X2 as well. It's like
he has control because that was one thing Apocalypse had to deal with 2 times in this movie was the fact that people, his horsemen and the people that follow him, always end up betraying him. And if he got his hands on Professor X, that shit ain't never happening again because now he has complete control of everyone in the world.
he should have just asked Psylocke if she can do psychic things, and she was like, "Yeah, I can do that." Do you have any power that can aid me? Well, I can do this psychic thing.
Do you have any unknown fantastical powers you would like to reveal to me now?
Well, not see these crazy like energy things that grow out of my hand. That's actually they're psi blades. So I have psychic powers. Well,
Yeah.
why didn't you say that earlier? Why the hell am I going after that?
You were too busy. Yeah, no, I didn't tell you because you were too busy putting tattoos on Angel's face.
I thought that was kind of funny. It was like, oh, so he gets to customize his action figures. He gets to make them clothes, and he gets to put cool tattoos on them. He gets to give Psylocke what are those things like highlights in her hair.
Yeah.
He's more of a seamstress than a supervillain.
I don't know, man. Being a horseman's got benefits, man.
Yeah, right.
make you this wonderful
Custom tailor, power amp.
Yeah.
Hey, Apocalypse, you have people for this? No, I got this.
Hey, maybe Apocalypse is,
There's the little thing.
hey, I'm just saying maybe he swings that other way,
It's the personal touch that makes Apocalypse's horsemen all come together.
One of the mutant abilities that I absorbed from the many humans, from the many mutants from the past, is the seamstress mutant who can make clothing out of anything.
Yes. I'll make you fabulous.
I will make you more fabulous than you've ever been.
Oh, by the way, quickly, I need to say this. I thought New Storm, she did a better accent than fucking Halle Berry.
Oh,
With her
God.
inconsistent ass,
Halle Berry still had the Catwoman taste in the mouth.
Oh.
He would eventually have it.
For the amount of time, obviously she didn't talk that much, but for the amount of time that she actually did talk, I think she did way better than Halle Berry in the 2 films that she had been in.
Dude, I think she talked more than Halle Berry in that first film, at least,
Oh, yeah.
What was
She's
her
like-
line? What was her line? Senator Kelly's dead, and an idiotic line about frogs.
Yeah,
about
that's it. That's
toads.
all she said,
Nah,
at
man.
least, yeah.
That. What was it? There was one part in the movie that was like I whispered over to my friend who was watching at the same time. Is this a bad sign? When the actress who was playing Storm goes up on screen and says something like, "Can you think of all the men and women who worked on this whole project and how it's really a good movie and all this stuff?" And I was like, this is a bad sign. Like this is not.
It's like,
This is
don't
not
steal
something
this
you
film.
do for a regular movie.
Yeah, that was weird. I'm like, wait, why would you just have the actors just saying this shit before the movie begins? Like, guys, please like our movie. We worked really hard on it.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I
That's
liked your
weird.
movie. You don't need to convince me.
Yeah,
To be honest, you coming on screen telling me that I should like the film, that makes me want to not like the film.
Man, don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do.
man, fuck your movie, man. That's what I think of it. So anyway, let's talk about the fucking ending, man. The post credit, an actual post credit scene. I think this was the first time X-Men actually did that, like really legit at the end of it.
They had a post credit scene before, but like they were always
I'm talking like at the ass end of it. I'm talking about the ass end of the thing, like before.
Was it at the end of Last Stand? They had like the whole Charles Xavier mind transference thing.
Oh, okay. There's your answer. That's why I don't remember it. It's the fucking Last Stand, that piece of shit. Okay, but in recent memory, you know. So yeah, you know, this dude comes in with a briefcase, takes Wolverine's blood, puts in a briefcase, the XX Corporation. I'm like, oh shit, Mr. Sinister.
I like that a lot of people were just like, huh?
Yeah, that's how you know they didn't read the comics.
Yeah, well, obviously they don't read the comics.
So yeah, what do we think that means, Mr. Sinister? Because think about it like this: are they going to establish whole things like he's been watching Cyclops and Jean Grey their entire lives? Are they going to bring all that? And then through Mr. Sinister, you could potentially work Cable in there, you know?
Yeah. But I thought it was funny because I was reading all the stuff about it. People were talking about, oh, X-23 confirmed, X-23, and I'm like, I don't see. I mean, Wolverine's blood has a pretty strong relation to so many other things. It's not just one.
You could literally just say Dakin. You know, you could say Dakin.
It could be anything else. You know?
Remember, wasn't that Deadpool has a relation to Wolverine's blood?
He was in the Weapon X program.
Yeah, the Weapon X program. I mean, yeah. No, you're right.
It could be anything.
Which, by the way, did you notice they called him Weapon X?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You didn't go, hey, it's Wolverine.
And you know, he did look like Weapon X. He didn't have the goggles on. That was the only difference.
I thought that was kind of cool. That was total fan service right there.
Yeah, it was like, okay, what can we do to make Wolverine, you know, be totally justified? Let's give him that classic costume.
Yeah. Although, like, Manny, you brought this up. They changed his origin.
Yeah, they did.
Because remember, the origin was he gets the adamantium in him, and then he breaks out and he leaves. And this one, he's still there.
Yeah. So essentially, yeah. So he gets the adamant. Well, the thing is that they have that sequence from the first X-Men film where he's like in that lake, or he's in that friggin' like stew pot or whatever, and he busts out and he kills everybody in the room. So now in this one, they actually kept him long enough to be a Weapon X.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was in a porta potty, you know.
Yeah, which means, because there was a, you know, the kind of way they stupidly set it up, where it's like he got the bullet in the head, and that's why he, that's why he can't remember. And I'm guessing in this one now he has the proper Wolverine origin, where it's like he was just, you know, he had a bunch of psychotropic, therapy and, you know, stuff like that done on him to kind of wipe his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, I wasn't checking the comments. There's a bunch of people in there. Hello, people in the comments. I wish this is Rico the Beast. I wish the trailer didn't spoil the fact that Wolverine was in the film. I kind of agree with that. They should have kept it a surprise, but that it still would. We'd still be here going, hey, that didn't need to be in there at all.
Yeah, like, why is this Wolverine sequence in here?
You know, I didn't like how they made Mystique the leader of the X-Men. Well, you know why, dude, Robzilla. It's fucking Jennifer Lawrence.
It's kind of sad that it had to kind of go. It went that way. To be honest, I mean, it would have been cool if fucking Havoc was the leader of the X-Men.
That'd be cool. All right, I'm just going to read some of these comments real quick. There has only been one bad X-Men movie, not including X-Men Origins, and that would be Last Stand. Yeah, basically.
Last Stand was the stinker.
Yeah, that was bad. Kal-El was in here. What's up, Kal-El? She didn't look like Jean. Yeah, she had that big ass forehead, you know.
She didn't look like Jean, but she was still Jean Grey-ish.
Yeah, but this Rico says that he's a fan of Game of Thrones, so that's why he liked her. But Riku
That's
is
cool.
saying, "Hey man, that Game of Thrones just threw me off."
Yeah. Just like your living on threw you off, man.
Yeah. Bruce. Okay, there's Bruce Wayne's here. This is funny. Apocalypse was amazing. Give it 9 out of 10. I don't know about that. If it was good.
It was a good film. I mean,
Nah.
I'm glad that it's doing at least well.
Yeah.
Because I was afraid with all the bad reviews that it might not do the numbers that it did, but it did good. It's doing good, so I'm glad that it's doing good.
Yeah, and they're also saying that they felt the critics were too harsh. I agree with that. This movie, there's no reason to slam it. You know, it's not the greatest thing ever, but it's not like it's not Batman versus Superman where you're like it's offensively horrible. You know?
Yeah, I couldn't say I went to the film and I was like, okay, this is a fun film. This is what it is, and I thought it was a good time. It was just enough. You know, I had my gripes with it, but at the same time, I would, I enjoyed the film, and that's all you can really ask for.
Yeah, and you'd go see another X-Men movie, you know.
Yeah, it didn't sour me on the X-Men films. I'd go see another one. I mean, I'd go see
with the DC Cinematic Universe, you're not even gonna.
No, I'm not seeing Suicide Squad. No. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
To me more and more it's them trying. The Suicide Squad is also going to be them trying to make up for what a Batman Superman.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Why did they let Magneto get away with killing thousands of people? Because he's Magneto.
Yes.
You know how it is, dude. They got to reset everything by the end of the movie, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It's like.
I also like
he probably killed more than thousands, by the way. He probably killed millions of people, dude.
I also like the fact that he just stuck around just to build his house, rebuild the X Mansion exactly the way it was before, but then just said, "I'm out. Later, guys."
Like, we cool? Not really. Okay, later.
Okay.
I'll
be back.
Yeah, I'll be back. Exactly.
I'm totally okay with my family dying now.
Well, that's a good question. How you know what? They didn't mention in the movie. The same arrow that killed Magneto's daughter killed her too. It went through her.
Yeah, it went through them. Which
Yeah,
I have to say that has got to be the most strongest arrow ever.
Yeah, that was a strong arrow.
And he accidentally shot that shit. He wasn't even looking the right zoom. Howie, like what the fuck?
How did you realize that? Okay,
It's Hawkeye in the training.
Imagine if you actually really cocked it back. That thing would have killed everybody, man.
Yeah.
Like it would have went through the world and killed Apocalypse. You know. That's a strong ass arrow.
It was kind of weird because it literally went through both of them.
And yeah, it was just by accident. Like, oh no, like.
Oh no.
I thought the way he killed those guys was pretty cool, though.
He killed them like he did in the other film too.
Yeah.
With the locket.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was cool. All right, so let's wrap this up. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a good movie. Not like the greatest X-Men movie, obviously, but it was good. I definitely want to see where they're going to go from here, for sure. You know.
Well, I mean, the next thing is Wolverine. So.
Yeah, Wolverine, Old Man Logan. Logan. So we'll see about that.
Oh yeah. By the way, I have to say there's a couple of fucked up things that happened with this film. They did not invite the creator of Apocalypse to go see this film.
Louise Simonson?
No, they didn't get her at all.
What?
You know how like in the other films, so like during with Deadpool, they had Rob Liefeld and the writer of Deadpool, the original writer, and then a bunch of the other writers who wrote Deadpool and artists. All of them, they always put a cameo of them, but for some reason they didn't put her in it, or didn't even mention it.
That's kind of fucked up, man.
Yeah, there was I actually posted an article about that on my Twitter about it, where she's there. Like it's an interview with her, and she's like, "Yeah, they haven't contacted me at all. Bryan Singer never came to me or anything like that."
Did they just forget her or something?
Forget her.
I think when it comes to for Louise Simonson,
He's sexist, man. He's sexist.
The thing is that she started doing comic books writing comic books at a time when there weren't a lot of women in comics.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
Walt Simonson's wife, right?
That's Walt Simonson's wife.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. She was like the going female back then, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of disappointing that she just kind of forgotten in all this. I mean, even Walt was put into the first Thor film.
Yeah.
You know, and he didn't even create the character.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. But anyway, so yeah, those are my final thoughts. Good movie. Check it out. Anchorman. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I think overall, like I liked the character moments in the movie. Like in particular, I liked Angel just in general. I know, but like I liked Jean, I liked Scott, I liked Nightcrawler. Like those things were probably worth admission if you're a comic book fan. Like it was enjoyable. But I mean, it's really hard in a post cinematic universe world to give this as much credence as really any Marvel movie right now, at least Disney Marvel, because it just doesn't. It feels so antiquated, where it's like we're all gonna team up at the end and fight the bad guy, and we're not gonna have really any real character development, and it feels a little antiquated to me at least. And so I mean, like, it's enjoyable, but it's not like I'm gonna scour over. Like I'm probably not gonna see this movie again until maybe a couple of years after Blu-ray.
When it comes on Netflix or something.
Yeah, maybe Netflix. Yeah, sure,
Hey,
Netflix.
yeah, hey, they got that deal now. I know they don't. They got it with Marvel now with Fox. Anyway, Riku, final thoughts.
Yeah, like I said, I felt this honestly out of all of the. I know this is, in my opinion, and everyone else's.
It's all
this
good.
isn't far from the one of the good or better Marvel movies or X-Men movies out there. But I still, in my opinion, I feel this is probably the most enjoyable I've had with an X-Men movie, because all of them were either. I personally, I liked X-Men 1 and 2 for what they were, but I wasn't really like hyped when I was watching them. And obviously X-Men 3, Jean Grey just fucked everyone over with her bipolar self at the end, so I didn't enjoy myself with that. First Class, I liked First Class from a critical standpoint, but I didn't really enjoy it that much. And then when Days of Future Past kind of fixed everything, I enjoyed that aspect of it, and then Quicksilver and all this stuff. But this one, I think, you know what it is? It's probably because I'm a big Nightcrawler fan, and Nightcrawler had a lot. He was doing a lot in this movie, especially around the end with the jet and whatnot. How to Archangel, he was kind of stuck inside there, and then Nightcrawler, he was teleporting people in and out, trying to get. He got Professor out. He did that like 5-man teleport out of the jet.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then he was knocked out for the rest of the movie, and then he came in at the end. Hey, hold on, everybody! And everyone's just looking at Nightcrawler like, what's going on, dude? The movie's over. He's like, huh? So that's probably it. This is probably the most enjoyable time I've had with an X-Men movie. So there's that.
Awesome. I can see why you say that though, because it's definitely the most comic bookish X-Men movie, but in a good way. Because the thing is, because maybe remember when we saw The Last Stand, we both said, hey, that was probably the most comic book X-Men movie, but it was trash. This one was very, very comic bookish, but it was good.
I just like that we're allowed to have comic book films. We're not like we're not playing. We're not playing like we're not playing like they're not people who wear capes and wear
yellow suits and shit.
Trying to make it somewhat realistic. You don't really need to do it. I mean, we're already suspending our disbelief that the fact that these people they're gonna throw lasers out of their eyes or turn into a monster and all this stuff. So you could get away with it. You could be a little bit over the top and still.
Yeah, but to be fair though, we've had to kind of earn that over 20 years.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You couldn't have had them in those costumes. The costumes you see at the very end of the movie, where they're full on X-Men costumes. You couldn't have had that 20 years ago.
I hope that's not just a gimme, by the way. I hope that they actually in the next film, whatever next film get.
I said that to my friend. I was like, these niggas ain't the X-Men. They the X-Teens. Look how young these motherfuckers are.
Hey, yeah, they're the all new X-Men, right? The young guys, the real
X-Men Evolution having a.
All right, so let's wrap it up. So once again, our show. Actually, what's the next spoiler? I don't even know.
I hope
Suicide
it's not
Squad.
Dr.
Yeah, Manny's not
Suicide
gonna be in
Squad,
Suicide Squad.
wait, kind of strange.
Not for me.
Hey man, he's actually gonna be committing suicide.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's probably gonna hate that movie, commit suicide in the theater.
I ain't gonna touch that movie. I'm just not. I'm not opening the door.
Oh god.
He's like, fuck that. So yeah, we'll get your spoiler when we get your spoiler alert. So once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
You're only delaying the inevitable. I, who am eternal, shall never be defeated.
Anchorman.
Hey everybody, Anchorman here, and from the Inner Circle, check us out at ticgn.com or check out the Inner Circle Network on YouTube.
Yeah, man, check him out. Great shit, great shit. And Riku-san one, the only one, Michael Crawford.
Peace out, little niggas.
We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.
Laters.